Talking about you got this and you got that, and you gonna murder this one and murder that one. Talking all that bullshit. I'm gonna put it to you like this, yo.
This is for the nerds, this is for the brainiacs, this what we deserve. Go ahead and play it back, you ain't gonna touch me, you not gonna do nothing, you are not above me. I bet you wish you was me, I know it, I know.
What is poppin', everybody? And welcome back to another special episode of the Only Friends podcast. Well, you know, it's me and my only friends, which includes, but is not limited to, the Tortoise. What's poppin', Tortoise?
What's going on, baby?
You been holding shit down here?
You know, we doing good. We doing real good. I didn't think you were gonna go to me. I thought you were gonna go to the one non-Steeler fan in the room. But
big mistake.
Yeah,
Fuck, I didn't even think about
I know.
that.
I thought he'd like look over at Berkey and I and see us all decked out and just be like, I gotta go to Guapo. But you know, here we are. So how about those Steelers, Burke?
Oh my
Yeah.
god, I didn't even think about that.
43?
I can't
44.
believe-
44?
Can't even.
believe it.
Hypothetically speaking, if I was your Secret Santa and I got you a Russell Wilson jersey, would you wear it?
Yeah.
Hell yeah, I'd wear it.
Russ is cooking, man.
He's cooking.
Russ is fucking cooking. Go ahead, Conrad. You seem a little speechless.
Because we have to redraw those.
What? I already got mine. I was very happy.
It's funny. I'm the one that set it up, and I have to
He
go.
forgot. He
forgot
left people
to-
off. He added people that aren't going to be involved.
It's true.
It's all right. You got to start all over again.
It's all
All
right.
right.
I mean, we haven't seen Brent or Platt in months.
It's true.
Ever since they started tanking in Weekend Warrior, they just seem to disappear.
Stop showing up.
Yeah. Speaking of Weekend Warrior, it's going. Brent climbed out from the depths of hell and somehow is back on the leaderboard. He's break even for the season. Incredible.
Wow,
They're going to
I
make a
gave up the
movie
lead.
about this. Platt is back in the lead. I've somehow fucked off 1,500 here, gambling a little bit too much. We know what Conrad did.
I've been having fun.
He did what he did. I'm going to have to try a little bit harder.
I just need to be able to hang on long enough for Conrad to go broke.
Listen, I didn't have any time to look at anything. I didn't care.
And now the Tortoise is rounding up the rear.
No, it's not
Tortoise,
good, guys. It's
what's
not,
going on?
It's not good.
This is what happens when you're a tortoise.
Listen, exactly. Slow and steady, baby.
You got to stop following these same game parlays, man. They don't fucking
still
hit.
same game parlays. I know. Well, I didn't do a same game parlay this time.
I did.
I took,
I'm such an idiot.
No, I took a bunch of.
I would have fucking nailed it too. I would have nailed my original one for plus 800. I had Muth in the money line, which is a fucking lock. And then I saw good
Good
old
for a touchdown.
yeah. And then I saw good old Mike Williams just sitting there, like, you know what? It's week 4. He has to be adopted to the offense now.
No,
They're gonna score a lot of points. Let's get that plus 1,600. Let's give that a shot.
the booth got Luth.
Yeah, fucking Williams didn't even get a target.
I can't believe you didn't touch the over.
Over unders. I don't know what I'm doing there. I don't know what I'm doing in general, but like I don't like sweating over unders either. They don't do anything.
If you're
for me.
ever going to
suck.
take an over in the Steeler game, that felt like the one.
That might have been
That's
right.
for sure.
You know,
Bengals defense,
both
real
offenses
bad.
are cooking,
Yeah,
but
I mean,
Man.
I have to give us a little bit of a pat on the back. If you combine everyone's bankrolls, like
We're winning.
cooking. We're doing really, really
well,
well.
I hit
I'm
his.
glad I
hit
could
a,
contribute.
I hit a 60-1 shot. That's gonna.
Hey, man.
Right.
That's gonna.
If it comes in,
That's the thing.
if it
Berkey
comes
is
in,
right.
it comes in.
Yeah.
Berkey's right down there in the depths of hell with me. if he doesn't hit the 60-1 shot, so
No.
1 out of 60 times, Berkey, you're right where you are. The other rest of the time, you're with me.
No.
Congrats.
I would have played to not lose if I had missed that one. I would have stopped
Yeah.
with the parlays at some
Yeah.
point. But now I got gambling money.
I get it.
You know,
I understand.
50 to win 2,000 every
I
week.
lost
That's
all
just
my
me.
gambling money. That was fun though. I didn't get, I wish I was here when I was putting in those picks. I would at least looked at them. I was like, fuck the Pacers.
I can't believe you fucked off Weekend Warrior just to jinx the Steelers versus the Browns. Like that was some fuck
Yeah.
shit.
What happened?
You went all
Bet
in.
half your bankroll on the Steelers against the Browns.
Meanwhile, the two
Cleveland.
resident Steeler fans wouldn't touch that fucking game.
No.
We were like
Fuck
hesitant
no.
to even put in a pick that week.
Yeah.
Where was I?
Who knows? High
We
somewhere.
did touch that game, but we knew
Off in
we
outer
knew what we were
space.
doing.
Yeah.
We knew we were torching it.
Yeah. That's why I took like the 12 team. It's like, all right, well, you know, who knows if I'm going to hit money line here. All right, we have a packed show today. It's not going to be all sports ball and games. A lot going on in the poker sphere, including the WPT Florida, which is taking place right now.
Ooh, yeah.
The Bahamas is coming up. The WPT Win Las Vegas is also going to be coming up next week. And then there was quite a spat on Twitter. Real back and forth ensued. CoinPoker's latest ambassador hiring Bencb came with a bit of controversy.
Mm-hmm.
And we got to talk about it. You know what? To be honest, I was going to just pass on this one until Poker News wrote an article.
Yeah, right.
Seriously.
Nah,
No, there's no way we could not talk about this.
Well, yeah, I
Honestly,
realize that now.
I asked, like, what are we talking about today?
Yeah.
And found out that way.
I was gonna let it slide. I was just gonna talk Steelers sports ball all day.
I've been happy to do that.
Pickens, man. Pickens. Can he stop getting fucking personal fouls?
Oh my God. Oh.
Did you
He's an
know
asshole, isn't he?
he got a personal foul for pointing at the stands and doing a gun motion?
Yeah.
And he goes, I was just signaling first down.
No. Listen, here's how dumb the NFL is, though, right? Because this is first down. That 15-yard penalty. First down, 15-yard penalty. First down, 15-yard penalty. How dumb is that? But
Hey,
listen, that's the fucking rules. No, but he didn't go like this. He went like this. That's literally what he did. Like, he made like a gun motion, like he was firing into the crowd. You can't do that. You just can't.
really though? Why can't you?
Oh, I'm not saying whether. Listen,
No,
I'm not going
I-
to debate the art, like whether the rule should or shouldn't exist.
Well, I'm gonna.
The rule does exist. No, for sure, we can have that conversation. But the rule does exist. You should
Yeah.
be aware of the rule, and you should not break the rule.
I'm very torn on said rule. It feels like a very stuffy, like white collar kind of. We don't want to present the brand that way.
I gotta tell you, it's Trump's world now, man. We can do whatever the hell we want. You want to go bang, 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 bang? Let's go.
But I will say that maybe it is for the best that we don't have the last Boy Scout type of celebrations going on out there.
Well, remember? Oh God, was it Casey Hampton? It was a Steelers defensive lineman. Every time he would get a sack, he'd go like this, and then they eventually banned it. You weren't allowed to do
Right,
that, and
right.
so like he'd still do it and get it every once in a while and get a 15-yard penalty. But
Yeah.
like that was back, I don't know, 20 years ago maybe, but.
Yeah, I guess we don't want
like-
our athletes to be murderers.
We don't want them to be murdered. Some are.
Some are.
Shout out to OJ.
Listen, after Aaron Hernandez.
Yeah, shout out to the Ravens.
Listen, guys, after Aaron Hernandez, like
Shout out to Aaron Hernandez.
anything is possible. So we want to limit that as much as possible to the future generations. So no
Yeah.
more gun signals, okay?
I honestly, like, I truly, I'm not being facetious. I truly am torn because I think it's like ridiculous to censor people this way.
Yeah.
But I also think like, yeah, it ain't great.
Yeah, it doesn't build good.
You know,
it doesn't
it
build
ain't-
anything.
it's
good.
not wholesome.
Yeah, we got to wholesome, but not what fucking Al Shahir did this weekend or whatever his name
Bro.
is. Jesus Christ.
Trevor Lawrence is no longer with us.
No,
he's
my
passed away.
God, that hit! Like I couldn't imagine getting hit like that. Oh,
You don't have to because when it happens, you have no memory of it from that point forward.
Right.
You're just sliding and just somebody full boom.
Yeah, for those who didn't see it, he was running and he slid to protect himself.
gave himself up.
Usually you just give yourself up and you're completely unprotected, and the guy just came diving in straight to the head.
That was brutal.
Yeah.
All right. Talking about brutal, diving straight to the head. Resident Florida man takes chip lead.
Wow, we did what?
I don't know if that's actually true, but our one and only Landon Tice is currently in the money in the Seminole Hard Rock 3500.
go.
I believe they're down to like 30-ish.
Wow.
Currently,
Serious.
I thought it was 50 something.
Okay, so they're I'll look at the live update. They're currently guaranteed 16.5. 46 people are left.
Let's go.
Landon at last update had 2 million. I believe that was a full level ago at 1530. So he's somewhere he's somewhere plus 50 bigs. Let's see if he's in the top counts.
All right,
He
he's
was
like top
earlier.
10.
Is he? Because I'm still scrolling. I don't see him.
Maybe not.
Oh, there he is. He has 610K. We had some bumps in the road.
Oh no.
610. Well, it's 20 bigs in a dream.
Honestly,
bro.
no, that
Or
might
no,
just
15.
that might not be updated.
Okay, maybe
This
not.
might not be updated.
It might not be.
It definitely happens like at times where they don't update this. That's actually his day 2 count, I think. That's,
Vanilla Gorilla still in the mix as well.
he's always in the mix. I think that's just his day 2
Okay.
count.
Well, Landon's somewhere between 15 and 50 bigs currently. He might be safer with 15.
We haven't gotten any like bad texts.
Yeah, no negative
39
updates.
minutes ago, 2.1 million at 40K. 49 left.
Okay, so he probably has over 2 million. Then.
Yeah,
this is very
chilling.
likely to be lagging behind. Big deal for Team Tice. He can. This is actually like pretty sick. If he were to go on and win this for like 650-ish, he would have had a career year for sure. He would have like more than doubled his head mob this year alone.
Yep.
I think he'll be approaching 2 million in cashes. And
all
probably
be at Hard Rock.
yes, true.
It's a home field advantage.
And he would probably be somewhere around 50% of that being profit. So he's going to be, nearing like the $1 million threshold of profit if he were to go on and win this. Another big 6-figure score. People sleep on the kid, man, because like the expectation. When you got a mic every day, and you got people touting you as the child of the sim, you don't get to just quietly have a million. Like, he's already had $1 million year, right? Mm-hmm. But all the public saw was him getting washed in a crossbook where both players lost. Him like getting overshadowed by Timestamp Bro, who also, by the way, shout out to Nick Seward, just a sick career year.
He's had a sick year.
He's also
Insane.
approaching 2 million in cashes this year, I think.
Yeah.
Had a bracelet, big score. Back-to-back years of huge scores for him. He had the win score for like 360 last year.
Yeah. So
the team's cooking, man. And I got to tell you, I don't have a big enough piece.
Wow.
That bothers me.
It's never big enough.
No, like here's the thing. It's so weird because from the risk reward standpoint, you feel so heavily invested. Like it's just two of us and Landon splitting all of his action. But when everything breaks itself down, you're like, so I only have 18.5% of this? How the fuck did that work out?
How the fuck did this happen?
I don't even think I make 6 figures if you win. I don't care anymore.
Right.
No, I care. I'm rooting for the kid. But he has a huge piece of himself, so this would be a massive score for him. It seems like it's a pretty decent final 45. Nice mix of local Floridians, if you will, and the young guns. A lot of young guns, man. These guys are hungry. I don't know how they do it. I do know how they do it.
It's just the grind, baby.
When I was 26,
that's all we wanted to do. Right.
Just wanted my name in the chip counts, man.
Right.
That's it. Now I just want an invite to the Squid Game.
You're getting some invites.
The action has picked up.
It's
The action has
popular.
picked up.
Good.
I got to play shorthanded Squid last night for 6 hours, 5 hours, give or take.
Okay.
What a wonderful time.
Yeah.
What are you guys using for the little squids?
I have buttons.
Okay.
Yeah. Got 100K in pre with pocket fours.
Oh.
How'd that work out?
I won. It was a flip. I got one timed.
I mean, 100K. We don't know. Is that 10 bigs? Is that 100 bigs? Is that 1,000 bigs?
100, 200.
So you've been experiencing
so
a little
500 bigs.
downswing recently.
Yeah. I've been on
that.
a downswing of epic proportions.
So,
ever since we busted Survivor, I can't win a thing.
So when the man said,
Actually-
you had said one time,
Actually-
how did you feel?
Oh, I knew I was winning it.
Oh.
I built up so much cachet for I didn't even know that he didn't have a pair at that point, and I was like, it doesn't matter. Like I'm going to win it. Like I've lost kings versus ace king for about 3,000 big blinds. Where I'm running it twice and get scooped over the last month. I've lost queens versus ace king with a dead ace twice where I got scooped on those two. I'm just
gross.
positive there's no fucking way I can lose this hand. And he just proudly turns over the ace queen. I go, that was a mistake. You should not have let me know when I'm anti-sweating here. I held my hand because I can't have any bad juju.
Of course, obviously.
And it just ran out clean as a whistle. 8 high, never anything more.
Love to see it.
No sweats.
Love to see it.
We just scoop a scoop. So
Those sweats, you're fucking sweating, turning in the river.
Didn't feel a thing. I I was the 400 straddle, and we were heads up in squid. It went limp, 3K, call by the person I'm heads up with, which that 3K is just literally dead. And we're playing progressive, so the opener had 3 buttons, which means that his are all worth double. So we're playing $500 squid. His are each worth 1,000. So it's getting pricey. There's like 10 or 11,000 in squids out there. So button calls 3K on me now. Or sorry, small blind folds, big blind calls. I'm now last to act outside of the 2 limpers. I mean, there's 10,000 out there.
Yeah,
Plus a potential 12K penalty. I have a pair.
It sounds,
Yeah.
it sounds
People
like,
don't understand
sounds like
how
a pretty
hard
good
it is.
spot to me.
People don't get how hard it is to make a pair.
It's impossible.
Yeah, and it's like, I have 4s, so it's not like I really want to make it, 25K and call off.
Right.
We have the lot, Landon just said. Sorry.
Oh, baby. I have my phone. So to give you guys a visual of how this works, I'm sitting on my saddle, my human tool, if you will. Look it up. You'll want one. And my phone is underneath that, but my human tool is plastic. So when I
Nobody
get a
wants
text,
your human
it
tool.
really vibrates. I mean, I feel like Robbie J. Blue with Jack fucking high right now. Like,
Jesus Christ.
and it's just one text after another, and my coochie over here is just like really going to town. So it's good to know that that's an update from Landon. Also good to know that he's watching. He must be watching.
Oh, yeah,
paying close attention to us.
That's exactly what he's doing. Let me tell you.
Well, good luck out there, buddy.
Yeah.
That's
Hope you
fucking
get
dope.
it.
Sorry, go on with your story.
No, that's it. I decided that 20K was more than enough dead money to stick 100 in.
And then,
Yep.
and then some guy just said, all right, I call.
The speed at which he called, man.
What were you up against? Ace King?
Ace Queen.
Ace Queen.
The funny part is I knew I wasn't dead because earlier I had open jammed 20K on the button over his 800 straddle. And I jacked 10, and he took quite a long time before calling me. Got me to count my chips down, everything, and then calls. And it comes like Queen Jack XXX. And I proudly display my pair thinking it has to be good, and he has aces.
What?
Got your ass.
Jesus.
No one left to act, by the way.
No, that's fucking great.
So yeah, I get it. Anyway, moving along the poker topics. Confirmation today that D-Negs will be in the Bahamas, which we already knew that. But it looks as though he's going to be playing in the, I don't know why they brand it as a $1 million invitational. That's misleading. It's a 500K tournament that basically has pairs. So you have
The pair
pro.
combined is
I mean,
Wait,
$1
I see
million sounds sexier.
Wait,
It does sound sexier, but it's just not true.
I see 500K everywhere on the screen.
Yeah, but if you look at like the Triton advertising and the WSOP advertising, they call it the $1 million invitational. Anyway, 500K buy-in. He will be going in as a pro. I saw Rob Young tweet that he vetoed or he voted against Daniel coming in as a VIP. So not sure who. I didn't read the article. Let's see.
I don't think it said who
It didn't say who his VIP was.
No, we
gonna
don't
be?
know yet.
Okay, so that's weird because maybe he's not paired yet.
No, you have to be.
I know you have to be. That's why I said it's weird. But it's Daniel, so like he was always going to be playing this.
It might be Gambledore.
Oh,
Wow.
That'd be sick.
Gambledore.
That'd be fucking sick.
great.
Let's go.
That would be
Gambledore
great.
has to be fucking recognized as a pro.
No.
That's what we're talking about here,
Have
guys.
you seen
Like,
his Hendon mob?
Yeah, for real. Like, you guys
God.
gotta be fucking kidding me.
Yeah, you're right. It doesn't say. It says it will be interesting to see who his running mate is.
Right.
Maybe it's Carey.
Maybe.
Has Carey announced? I know him and Carey are close.
And you're not like correlated with this person outside of them just inviting you, right?
As far as I understand, although I would imagine a lot of them do business together.
Maybe swap a little bit or something.
Wow.
Wow.
This is so
Not
crazy. Okay, so
swap,
I'm looking at it
bye.
now. Bro, first of all, the qualifications to being a quote unquote businessman are very low. They basically just say like, don't be a super pro and you get to be a businessman. Although on the pro side, I would make arguments that there are some that could potentially be on. Anyway, so here's the pairing so far. You can scroll down that article. We'll show you. Ivy's paired with Paul Fua. Which this is an interesting one also because Ivy's a WPT ambassador. So he's in Bahamas.
Right.
But I assume is leaving prior to the WSOP stuff in order to come here and play the WPT. Like, you have to actually click into the article. So I would assume he'll be here for the main and stuff, but who knows? Robo and Rob Young, Antonius and Osai Katola. I'm really putting myself through this.
Yeah.
Like, why would I do this without Landon here? This is insane. I have to rely on Conrad and Lamanna.
This is great.
I'll be all right.
I love this. I'll be all right.
Ben Heath and Philip Sternheimer, which Philip is, he's a great poker player. Like, he's just very good.
Wait.
What?
Philip?
Yeah.
He's not. He's in as a what?
Businessman.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah. They finally moved Punat to the pro side. He was a businessman for many
Yeah.
Of these events. He is paired with someone whose name I cannot pronounce. So
There we go.
it's the really long one.
Yeah.
If anybody's wondering. Mateos paired with Estai Wang, Sean Winter, which had Dareberry. Some of these guys I'm interested to see who they are. Like, who's
TVK in the mix.
Yeah, I think TVK could have labored a little harder to be a wreck. I'm not saying that to slight TVK. I'm just saying, like, Saya is a wreck, who's like a high stakes cash crusher. Granted, she doesn't really play MTTs, but like, you get it. Charlie Hook is a wreck. Like, he's a pro. Anyway, TVK on the pro side, playing life on hard mode.
It's nice to just say TVK instead of Taylor Vaughn.
Exactly. Kriegenberg.
Yeah.
He's paired with David Einhorn. Petrangelo paired with Santosh. Some of these pairings are interesting to me. Bonomo with Elton. Soiza with Wai-Kin Yong. Davies with Charlie Hook. Chance with Brandon Stevens. This was the most recent one that was announced. Chance with Brandon. And Saya with Kayan. Kayan's been fucking winning everything.
Yeah.
I actually think Kane was originally a businessman as well, and he got bounced out into the pro side. Oh, shit. Chidwick is with Big Al from fucking he's from Wilkinsburg.
Wilkinsburg?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, outside of Pittsburgh?
Yeah, just outside.
Nice.
And then D-Negs with To Be Determined. So it looks like there's 32 runners confirmed. Well, 31, I guess.
Burke.
Yeah.
Something hit me.
Yeah.
I mean, you look like a businessman to me.
Oh, they would let me play business side instantly.
D-Negs needs a partner.
Get the fuck out of here.
What do you mean?
Absolutely not.
What do you mean? Come on, Burke. This is your time to shine. It's your time.
I'm not even saying absolutely not because it's Daniel. I'm saying absolutely not because I don't want to play.
Do you have an announcement to make?
Burke, this is your time, babe.
I'm saying absolutely not because I don't want to play a $500,000 tournament.
I mean,
Right.
Sometimes, you know.
I can't fathom I'm very good. But you're right. I do belong on the business side. I saw Rob tweet that 60 people were confirmed. This is a list of 32, so it'll be interesting to see who gets publicly confirmed. It looks like only half the field is public right now.
Right.
So $30 million prize pool.
If that is accurate, yeah, that ain't bad.
Not too shabby.
Nah.
First is only a measly 8 or 9.
I mean, you know, just show up, just win.
Yeah, I'll bookend it, Final table of the 2016 Super High Roller Bowl. Don't play anything significant for the next 6 years, and then just come right into the 500K as an amateur.
How do you think this fucking works?
That's true.
How do you think this simulation works?
I fucking get it. After playing Squid, every time I play Squid, I understand how tournaments work. Because in order to win playing Squid Game, you're just all in all the fucking time.
Yes.
And if you win your all-ins, actually, you just have to win your last all-in.
It's true.
Because unlike a tournament, you just keep reloading for more and more money.
Yeah.
And so, like, as long as you cover on the last all-in,
life's good.
everything's a wash.
Yep.
It's fine. But yeah, I mean, variance is a fucking hell of a drug, man. I don't know how we do it to ourselves. But it doesn't look like it's going anywhere. These big tournaments are here to stay. So that will be kicking off the Bahamas. I believe this starts on the 3rd or the 4th.
I know the Bahamas starts on Saturday. I don't know what day this specific tournament starts.
It's the first. It's definitely one of the first events because I looked to see if Ivy would be able to make it back in time. and he will. Yeah, so Saturday 7th, 8th, and 9th is this event.
Makes sense.
So we'll be staying tuned to this. Yeah, and in this article it says so far possibly 28 pairs are now public, but they've released half of them. So 15 of the possible 28 pairs are now public.
I'm gonna
So
be kind of bummed if Gambledore doesn't show.
I'm telling you, man, I think he rode off into the sunset.
I mean, that would be the coolest thing to do.
Yeah. I think it's a thing. I definitely think it's
You think Ivy's gonna miss his chance at the fucking all the fun at WPT?
He's not allowed to miss. It's under fucking contract, man. Like, honestly, like if we provide no other service here at the Only Friends podcast, I think it's just getting to say the quiet part out loud. You know, like a lot of people just like, you know, there's all these business dealings happening and everybody is kind of aware of it, but nobody really talks about it. It's like, no, this motherfucker's under contract. He will be in Las Vegas, Nevada, on these dates to play the WPT. There'll be a photo shoot. They will they'll parade him around like their little show pony.
Do you think that they've set the dates for this particularly for Ivy?
The Triton, you mean?
Yeah, like
no,
earlier.
No. If anything, and I don't think this is the case, but if anything, I would imagine the Win main event dates were placed in a way such that Ivy could do both.
Yeah,
that makes sense though.
Because like he's just such a face of Triton. He'll never miss those. You know, it's just kind of a part of his career at this point.
Yeah.
But
and
also,
WPT has a partnership with Triton as well.
Do they?
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Sponsorship.
Interesting that they're partnered with WSOP also. I guess they're free to do whatever they want.
Yeah.
We'll take a partnership with both. We don't care.
Yeah,
bring them on.
They get it popping.
I am not to be positioned into one corner.
Amen.
We love you all.
That's right.
Triton, World Series of Poker, WPT. I'll start playing tournaments. Poker Stars, come on, get in the mix.
EPTs, let's
All
go.
of them.
EPTs, let's fucking go.
BSOPs, my God.
You want to add a dead buy-in to every one of your events? Just come sponsor the Only Friends podcast.
Amen.
I'm in. I might even learn pre-flop ranges. How about that?
Wow. I'll help you out.
Yes. Let's go, Guapo.
Nothing's greater than that.
I'm gonna talk to LaPlante. He's gonna teach me all of the intricacies of this difficult game that you guys call flipping.
So you got just an extra year of time laying around, huh?
Yeah. See, now that's the difference. That's the difference between a self-aware curmudgeon cash game player who's beaten down by the force of luck versus an MTT guy who thinks that he's just like right about to turn the corner and have his lucky streak catch up to him. I know that there's no edge in Squid Game. And there's edges, but they're very, very small, and you're never going to realize them in life because, you know, every hour that you play, you're getting in 15 hands.
The game is fucking stupid.
So you're flipping. You're flipping a weighted coin where the really, really, really bad players are getting it in with 30% equity. But, you know, you're making sense on the dollar. And I know that. And I still choose to participate. Right. And I accept the results. What I don't do is come around here and tell you how Squid Game is the most complicated form of poker. It is not. Close your eyes, shove an ace, and pray for the gods that when you get your dick snapped by middling cards, you can hold.
Is that basically what you're saying tournaments are?
Yes.
It's literally
Precisely.
Tournaments. Like it's literally
tournaments.
It breaks down the games of 15 to 20 big blind poker, basically.
Right. You
and
can
it's
do it.
just all in or full.
You can do it in a fun way like I just described, or you could sit there like as if you've been in the lab with no lights on for 16 weeks going, okay, the properties of Ace-7 offsuit in this particular formation are such that the diamond is better than the spade. And because of the tendency of him opening 2.75x instead of 3, it means that the calculation will allow me to go 1 pip wider. I'm all in dealers. Call! Aces. Fuck! Rebuy! Put in 250 big blinds with fucking pocket fours yesterday. God, it feels good to be alive.
Did you say 500? That was 500.
I straddled.
Oh, okay. Cut it in half.
500 big blinds, 250 straddles.
Gotcha.
Sure.
Okay, there's
There
a
you go.
difference.
Right.
Feels good. Feels good.
Admit,
Feels good when it holds.
you would see a whole different version
guy,
of Berkey today if an ace or a queen had fallen on that
Of
fucking board.
course. I mean,
I would not have booked a win. I absolutely would have been in tears.
I couldn't imagine asking you twice this weekend. Did you win?
Oh,
and
he
just look at me.
It was against the fun player too. He would have he barely speaks English and he just loves pain. Like Oscar got fucked in a pot, and he got like jammed on after he opened, and Oscar was trying to get his third button, so it was just like obvious. And so he gets shoved on, and he just looks at me and goes, and that's it. That's the only response. We just move on. It's like, okay, I understand what's happening here. You're paying for pain, and I'm here to dole it out.
Sounds like my type of guy.
All right, going on with the Bahamas, WSOP has announced that because of quote-unquote laptop gate this summer, they are going to invoke new rules or make rules adjustments. Now, on one hand, it's easy to point to the WSOP main event where the laptop on the rail was obviously an eyesore, and we can say that that's what drove change, which is very likely to be true. But on the other hand, let's not forget that the pinhole camera scandal that has been floating around the poker community for the better part of a year and a half all began last December in the Bahamas. For the WSOP Paradise tournament or whatever. Now, to be fair, it was happening inside games. It wasn't a part of the actual structured events, at least not that we're aware of. So, I don't want to be like hypercritical of anybody. But it does look like that new rules are going to be in place, which is sorely needed in my opinion. I think this needs to be adopted pretty much everywhere. The basic adjustment here is electronic assistance and coaching will lead to a disqualification from the event. So Rule 63B reads, electronic assistance and coaching. Players and spectators are not allowed to use charts, apps, or any other form of electronic assistance in the tournament room. I think they should take out the word electronic to be a little bit pedantic, because like people will print something out. You're going to see somebody with a
sheet
range
of paper.
chart.
It's not electronic.
Exactly. Failure to adhere to this policy will result in a penalty up to disqualification for the player and removal from the tournament room for the spectator. Spectators are also prohibited from providing live assistance or coaching. That feels like an overreach.
What, the coaching part? Live assistance?
What is that? That's subjective.
It's way too ambiguous.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure.
And
it's like when you go over somebody and they're like, I don't know. I mean, I got this many bigs, and he's just like maybe you should fold this hand that you're disqualified.
I mean, that seems to be the letter of the law.
That's what
I worry about this because I worry that in our specific game, name power goes a really long way, and I do worry that what ends up happening here is somebody gets to leverage who they are to get somebody else penalized.
Yeah.
Right. Like, oh, he's going over there and he's talking to his rail. It's clearly strategic. Like, do something. I don't want to see that happen. Also, I think it's harmless when you're out of a hand. I've gone so far to say, like, I think it's harmless when you're out of a hand to even be able to consult things like GTO Wizard, but I understand optically the desire to remove that altogether, and that's fine. I'm with that. But I don't think it's, and I know what they're trying to say. Like, they're trying to prevent somebody having an earpiece who is relaying information to somebody at home, like what Pads tweeted out, where he was a part of a super team and he's like running shit and relaying it to them, and then they're relaying it to. But you're still playing a game of telephone.
And what constitutes like coaching or not? Well, if you go over to the rail and the guy's like, oh, I played with him, like he's just your friend there, and he's just like, oh, I played with him last week. He plays his button suit.
Or what if it's Elliot Rowe on your rail? He's like, mate.
He's giving you
mate, close your eyes, mate.
Mental coaching, yeah. Right, no, seriously.
Are you on a beach or in a mountain? Right? Like,
just qualified.
Yeah, I mean, like, are you going to kick him out of the arena?
Right.
I would like to see this. I mean, look.
If anything, it's a deterrent.
Right. And that was what I was going to say. They write it this way to give themselves a letter of the law thing to default to, and then they can offer leniency. Right. It doesn't have to be followed as written.
Right.
It'll be up to their discretion. So, okay, like, I'm with it. They're doing the right thing here.
Oh, yeah.
Furthermore, the use of electronic devices, both at the table and on the rail, will be banned when WSOP event reaches its final 3 tables. This also includes viewing the delayed live stream as described in Rule 63C. I think this is good. I think it's very weird. It's weird because I'm old enough to remember when you weren't allowed to wear headphones when you got into the money.
Right.
And that was obviously a ridiculous rule.
You weren't allowed to do what?
You weren't allowed to. Once you got into the money, they made you remove all headphones. It was just absolutely insane, especially for the time. There was like little to nothing that could be done. It was like just FUD and overreaction. But now we've kind of come full circle where the technology is getting better. And so, like, I kind of get it.
Yeah.
Oh, shit. Litecoin's up to 137. God damn, I've only been holding for a decade. Let's go.
You have Litecoin?
I have like 75 coins.
Do you know XRP is fucking booming?
Yeah.
I know XRP is boomers.
The boomers are cooking.
Yeah, they just 5x'd in the last
They
fucking week.
held that shit for 10 years, and they're finally getting their money back.
God bless.
Oh, man.
What was the Landon update while we round this out?
Landon,
he has all the chips?
He just
had a
says,
top 10
I
chip
have
stack.
the lot.
Okay.
I don't know what the fuck that means.
It means a lot.
Let me just double check.
The
make sure-
Lot or a lot?
They're both the same.
No, it's the lot.
The lot would be
The
chip
lot
lead.
would be a lot.
The
We
lot would
have
be chip lead in my opinion.
Capital LOT.
Okay.
So it sounds like we got a double.
Let's send a little love to Landon out in Florida. Let's hope his face doesn't get eaten by any Florida men zombies, and let's hope that God, I have so many bad experiences being there. I just remember so many memorable hands that were worth so much money that I didn't win.
Didn't we?
Let's not relive them.
The last time I played a WPT main in Florida, I was chip leading, and I got into a 3-way all-in spot versus the guy second in chips and an above average stack. I had a set of 10. I flatted 10s versus an under the gun open. Second in chips opens under the gun. There's like 35 left. This is like the end of day 3. Second in chips opens under the gun. I flat 10s. Big blind calls. Jack 10, 5, 2 spades. Bet, raise, 3-bet all in, call off. It's like a 400 big blind pot. Ace Jack with the ace of spades, 10s, 5s.
You're in a good spot.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Turn 5.
Now you're not in a good spot anymore.
Not only am I not in a good spot, not only am I losing now this massive. I ended up breaking even in the hand. That's how deep we were. But not only do I lose the side pot, now I'm fucking sweating against Ace Jack that was goddamn dead.
Right.
Luckily, I held there. We went on to get like 14th or some shit that wasn't worth anything.
As it just comes 5 Jack.
Yeah, it could have happened. It could have fucking happened.
Oh man.
I almost wish it would have. No, I'm glad it didn't, because then I got second in the 5K. That was my last real shot. No, that's not true either. I downplay my tournament success.
You've done pretty fucking good in tournaments.
I have done pretty
You've played like 17 of them in the last 20 years, and you
Cash 14 of them for about 1.5 million.
And you were also in that one for like 15, and you got like second.
That's the one I was talking about. It was the same trip. Yeah. It was the same trip. All right. Speaking of trips, you just got back from Brazil?
Absolutely fucking amazing. Went down for the BSOP, and it was dope. Everything about it, like, I don't know. It was just like a really...
What's a BSOP?
It's Brazilian series of poker.
Okay.
It's basically Brazil's WSOP.
And you went to which part?
Sao Paulo.
Okay. So you saw a lot of thongs.
No, I didn't go see a beach.
A lot of asses.
There's no beach.
What are you doing in Brazil?
There's no beach. It was like beach was like 40 minutes away, but it was like we were in like the business section, and it was like really nice. Everything was really convenient and just popping. I had mad fun.
Did it
Literally, like we'd
did
go
it
out.
feel relatively safe?
Yeah, absolutely. Like I went out to 8 o'clock in the morning every day. Like
Okay.
that's how safe it was, and just like walking around, and yeah, it was popping.
Food was good.
Food was awesome. And it was cheap. Like I think like the most expensive thing I could buy was like $30.
Pretty good. So you're having like fine dining for $30.
Yeah, no, yeah, basically.
Yeah.
Drinks, hanging out there for an hour or two. Sorry, I have the Apollo in my ear.
Why?
He had went live. I was just hearing what he was saying.
What is the matter with you?
Yeah.
You're on a podcast.
I had to double real quick.
You don't. Okay.
But
right.
yeah, the BSOP was
We're done
popping.
with
Like I
you.
had a lot of fun.
That's good. We're done. We're done with you.
You got to
now.
come with me next time.
No.
Yeah, you do.
No, I will not come home.
You have to go.
I'll not come home.
One way or another, I won't come home. You're either gonna find me dead in the streets, or I'm gonna be
You're not
shacked
gonna
up.
be-
with...
Why would you be dead in the street?
You're
I
not
don't
gonna
know,
be dead in
man.
the streets. It's like really safe and cool. Like
That's not what I heard.
you know, trust me. I'm literally walking around at the middle of the night, 2:00 in the morning, just walking around by myself.
I guess I shouldn't say. I don't know the different areas of Brazil. I just know that there are some very dangerous
Like-
areas, but the same as America.
I think there were some dangerous parts in Rio de Janeiro.
Oh yeah, maybe that's.
I mean, there's dangerous parts everywhere, but like,
You'd be shocked at like. From those of us who live here and like don't really fear for our lives on a daily basis, you'd be shocked how foreigners view America.
what do you mean?
Like,
Yeah, it's because of all the shootings.
Right,
everything
yeah,
you
yeah.
see like on the big.
I think it was when I was
stage.
in Dubai. I can't recall, but I was in Dubai and I was playing with somebody who had never been to America, and they're just like, "I'm going in, next World Series or something along those lines." I was like, "Oh, okay, cool. Like, what are your plans?" Blah blah. And they're like, "I don't know. I'm just like really worried. Am I going to get shot?"
That is a real concern, by the way.
And I'm like,
That is a real concern.
no, it's not.
It is absolutely a real concern for people who don't live in the States.
To be fair, this
they really
man
think
is
that everyone's walking around with guns.
No, that I agree with, and it's the same. It's the same. It's just like ignorance, right? Like I don't know anything about South America or Central America except like cartels.
Yeah.
It's like I think if I cross the Mexican border, I just
gonna
die
get shot.
immediately,
Yeah, no, it's
or get robbed or shaken down. You know what I
listen,
mean?
you know me. I like to
Cabo
put,
is very safe.
I like
by
to
the way.
push the
Yeah.
limits. Like I like to see if I am safe. So I'm gonna walk around places like as far as I can away from my hotel and just see at the middle of the night. You
There you
know
go.
what's going
Push the
on out
limits,
here.
that's
I
right.
have to see. I have to know. Like
Push it
whatever.
to the limit.
Like what's gonna happen? Like somebody's gonna rob me?
I also just think like you're way more savvy than most. I mean, don't get me wrong. Like you're more apt to get into trouble too, but I think if that's the case, you'll be more apt to get out of trouble.
Yeah,
I think
we'll figure
another
out
thing
a
that
way.
helps Connie is, he can pass for Brazilian. You know what I mean? Like, he doesn't stick out like a foreigner.
Because he got that wagon.
No, I mean, he's just, he's got Brazil vibes.
He does.
I mean,
What if I showed up?
okay, what if I told you that half? Wait, time out.
you showing up to
watch is
Brazil?
gone, your shoes are gone.
No,
you showing up to
no.
Brazil is the exact same as you showing up to a strip club. You walk in with dollar signs on your
Listen,
forehead.
you guys don't even understand. They wouldn't even say gringo. Like they wouldn't even call you a gringo for the first 5 seconds until you spoke.
Yeah.
Because look, probably like 50% of the country is white.
Yeah.
Yeah, but are they Lamanna white?
Yo,
I'm
listen,
Italian, bro. What are you talking about?
I literally
Them
got
like-
on the plane. I looked around. I said, "What the fuck? Everybody is white on this plane."
They're-
I thought everybody was like my skin complexion and darker. No, like there's just like it's like a melting pot almost. Basically,
There are versions of white, and I'm not the whitest. Have you guys seen Matt Hunt?
Fair.
I mean,
Right?
Landon.
It's fair. Yeah,
Landon, right.
We have a couple of versions of this podcast.
that's true. Thank God for our Italian blood. Am I right, Lamanna?
Right. That's right.
Hey, paisano!
How you doing, huh?
But
I
yeah,
do find myself leaning in a little more as I get older. I'm just like eating parm out of the
Yeah,
box.
yeah, of course.
Whatever. These are snacks now.
it's very safe, very poppin'. Like literally, like those clubs are like maybe like 5-10 minutes away. By the way, everything is so cheap.
Well,
That-
yeah, the dollar is very strong there.
Yo, but like there was Uber's
It's not cheap in whatever their
no it's
currency
not,
is.
No, obviously it's not cheap to them.
But that's what I'm saying.
By any stretch of the means. But like it was like $4 Ubers to go like a couple miles. Like it's
Yeah, man,
pretty
you go to
sick.
places where the dollar's really strong and you're a goddamn king.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's pretty insane.
Like Canada.
Really? Yeah, nowadays.
You want a lap dance, eh? Sure. It's 85 cents to me. Here, you want this toonie?
Oh my
man.
god, I couldn't imagine.
They don't
like,
have dollars there, Conrad.
what?
They have loonies.
They have loonies and toonies. They're coins.
Where?
So when you go to a strip club and the girls are dancing on stage, you don't throw dollars at them. You fucking peg them with these coins.
You peg them.
Well,
Jeez, bro.
If you're Lamanna, probably.
nah, Lamanna walked in. The second he got through the door, two girls would grab him and be like, "Where's the VIP table?"
No.
And he goes, "What am I gonna do? Tell him no?"
This is all hearsay. So I don't know anything about any of this.
You're
Wait.
old enough now that you could just chalk it up to being young.
Loonies and tooties.
Never
like,
happened.
Really?
Yeah,
Never happened.
yeah. $1, $2 are both coins.
That's insane.
Unbelievable. You keep talking about throwing coins at girls. You're gonna get Vanessa
I
Kade
really
on your
want us to
ass.
move past that part. Can we just move past that?
Excellent segue. Okay, so the thing that we didn't want to talk about that we have no choice. All right. So this past weekend, CoinPoker announced that they have Thank you, Brian. Way to catch up. You did great, man. You did great with the segue. Fuck. CoinPoker announced their latest ambassador hire, which was Bencb. And that very quickly came with the reminder that this past June, I believe it was, he put out a bit of a hot take. And when I say a hot take, I mean a hot novel. This is 10,000 words written out into a Twitter manifesto. But Vanessa Kade took it upon herself to remind everybody that, hey, Ben is a misogynist piece of shit. And some people hold that opinion with her. Others kind of jump to his defense. I think that it's valid for her. Not that I want to jump into opinions right away before I give the whole story, but I think this is a valid time for people who hold certain opinions about public figures to be public with them, right? Like, if you have criticisms for somebody who's hired by a new company, or more importantly, one with a lot of traction, like a GG, which she also did this with Dan Bilzerian in the past, I do think that it's an appropriate time to call attention to that, right? Like, if Vertucci were going to show up tomorrow on a new live stream that he became a partner of, obviously that should immediately come with everybody reminding the world that this guy is, a bit of a predator. And with the Bencb stuff, I think it becomes a little bit more nuanced than the actual conversation as it devolved on Twitter. But starting with the point of like, is Vanessa out of line for calling this out? She's entitled to her opinion, right? And she's not fabricating anything. She's leaning on receipts. She's quote tweeting words that Ben actually said, and she's taking issue with it. She's basically saying like, look, I'm a woman in the community. I feel like he unfairly targets women as being less than, and I'd like to remind everybody that that's not who we should be propping up with, large six-figure contracts to represent sites. Now, on the other hand, a lot of people jumped to Ben's defense. And I think that this is where it all kind of breaks down, because a lot of the people seem to be triggered by Vanessa's specific use of the word overt sexist, which is a bit charged, right? And I will tell you
I don't
this,
even know what it means.
that it's just like very obvious and in your face, right? Like that he oozes sexism.
Okay.
And the thing is like, this is where Twitter kind of just like fails, or X as you would have it.
For context, Matt, can you recap what Ben said?
Yeah, sorry.
Not everyone maybe knows.
I'll give you the gist, Guapo. That's the best I can do. I give you.
I certainly know what it is. I'm just saying.
No, I sent you the tweet, and
no, it's just for long.
Right, just for posterity's sake, please just scroll it so people can see how fucking long this is. And if you guys care to go back and read the whole thing, I mean, it's literally a manifesto on how he views men, women, and competition. But the long and short of it is, when he gets to the bottom of this, there's a screenshot from his Instagram. This is what I think what sparked the conversation to begin with. Somebody asked him, why do you think men have an advantage over women? And his response was, a lot of different reasons, but I know this will trigger the angry Karens and snowflakes out there, which is just already whatever.
Great start.
Okay. He says, anybody arguing that men have no advantage in poker are simply delusional. Why are there barely any women in the top 100 all-time money list? There are great female poker players out there, so yeah, men have some advantage. I don't know what that means. That's weird. One main reason that men are simply more competitive. Can't wait for the angry feminist. Women can also be competitive. Yeah, but it's not the same level as men. Men and women are different, and women are great at things men suck at. This is even a debate in 2024 shows the level of idiocracy. Okay, so a lot to unpack there. This whole post is just done in bad faith. Like that's really what all this boils down to, is all parties involved, Ben, Vanessa, DePaulo, for sure. Those three, 100%, are all just speaking in incredibly bad faith. I actually thought Will Jaffe's take on things was like somewhat reasonable.
What was his take?
I'll get to it in a second.
right.
But first, with these first three, when Ben words his response this way, he's already trying to disqualify anybody who would disagree with this statement.
Yeah,
It's
when
like
he
he goes. It's
when
like
he
he goes on attack mode and defense mode at the same time.
Yeah, when he
Like
starts with the
some of the
Karens.
words that he's using.
It's just an ad hominem against people that haven't even replied yet.
Right.
Right. It's taking an entire group and like tearing that group down. Like instead of steel manning the argument, he's just like creating this fake straw man of people who would potentially disagree. And he's already qualifying them as snowflakes and Karens. Right. So like the whole, like to even engage with this, you're already doing yourself a disservice and you are taking the bait to engage in a bad faith argument.
Yeah.
And so it's no surprise, and maybe this is of no fault of her own, maybe this is a byproduct of Twitter, maybe this is a byproduct of just taking the bait whenever he rage baits like this on social. But Vanessa's reply is also done in incredibly bad faith. There's no actual framing of the point that he's trying to make. Like he is acknowledging that one of the competitive, let me rephrase. A lot of her pushback whenever she says, how can you say men and women aren't equal? Women aren't privy to all the same things that men are privy to. They don't have the same study groups. They don't get the same amount of dollars thrown at them and all this other stuff. And it's like, yeah, he said that. He's saying that's why men are better than women in poker, right? So there's no grace given. There's no generosity in the interpretation of either messaging. It's just all done in bad faith. You're attacking the exact points he makes by doubling down on the points that he makes, but you're reframing it in a way where he's saying it in a very negative light, and you're now reframing it as like you're privileged. And it's like, well, yeah, like if we strip all of the adjectives away from both of these sentiments, you're both saying the same thing. There are more men who are successful in poker because they have a more privileged path forward than most women. They're able to onboard into the game easier. Their path of resistance is a lot less. There are many, many more of them. So you're going to see the 1% outliers of men will outnumber the 1% outliers of women by 10x or maybe more, maybe 20x, something along those lines, right? It's not a debate about sex. It's not a debate about the male brain versus the woman brain, in spite of the fact that Ben's language presents it that way, right? And that's why I think like this whole thing is just so terrible for everybody involved.
It's so
just
bad.
so terrible, right?
It's such a bad conversation.
It's horrible. And I also think this is where Vanessa is in really, really bad faith. So when she says disappointing hire, period. You know I love this industry so much, but it's so disheartening to see players who can be overt sexist and it carries exactly no consequences whatsoever. Parentheses, but pointing out sexism, trying to make positive change gets you max punished and makes you unhireable. This is so agenda-based, right? This is so me versus him.
Right.
This is so like tearing down another to prop yourself up type of behavior. And it's like, you can hold the opinion that you're disappointed that a company would hire Bencb because he doesn't fit your mold of what you think an ambassador should be. But when you frame the argument this way and then go on to say, like, I often wonder if people were overt racist to the equivalent degree, if they'd still turn a blind eye, if that's just a special exception we make when it comes to women. It's absolutely diluting the cause of championing for women, right? Because that's not what's happening here, at least not in my opinion. What I'm hearing is I can't stand to see people who act in bad faith get rewarded. Therefore, I'm going to act in bad faith and ask for my reward. And like that seems to be the exchange here. Like I'm not well versed in debate, not to the degree of somebody like Andrew Brokos, but should he see these types of exchanges, it has to drive him fucking mad. Right? Because nobody is acting in good faith in any capacity. Nobody's actually having a back and forth with regard to the topic at hand that initially spurned all of this, which is what are Ben's actual takes on men versus women, and are they overtly sexist, right? Now, you can point to a lot of instances where the language he uses, the way he rebuts to counter arguments. I know him and Victoria had a long back and forth where they ultimately had settled on wanting to debate on a podcast, and then Ben like seemed to want to have too much control over the reins, or Victoria wanted to. I don't know what it ended up being, but it fell apart. And you can say that like that's clearly indicative that he is a misogynist, and that, you know, the language he chooses to use is reflective of somebody who is sexist in nature. But the issue with that is, in my opinion anyway, is it's not charitable at all, right? Are you
talking about having this debate?
No. I'm talking about like the actual point that Ben's trying to make.
Okay.
Like there's just no charity being offered because of the language that he chooses to use. And maybe he doesn't deserve any charity, but if he doesn't deserve any charity, he also doesn't deserve any interaction, right? Like just criticize it without actually engaging.
What do you mean by charity? Like leeway?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Like a charitable way to read what he said is that, and this has to get past the can't wait for all the Karens and snowflakes to, right? Like that's a totally different thing. Like, look, there are a lot of reasons why Ben, the character, is incredibly toxic, right? He falls very much into the Andrew Tate category of men. Mm-hmm. But the same reason why you wouldn't engage with Andrew Tate is the same reason why you shouldn't engage with Bencb whenever he makes these rage bait posts. They're not done in good faith. They're not asking for a good faith, healthy discussion. They're rage baiting. They're trying to get people to come out and show they're crazy so that he can point and say, I told you they're Karens and snowflakes, and we're living in this fake woke culture that I'm going to put an end to. And people can rally behind that. Now all that's happened is the whole fucking goalpost has been moved. We're not talking about men versus women in a competitive sphere any longer. Now we're talking about woke culture and why it's okay to, you know, think what you want to think and express your opinions the way you want to express them, right? When you tack on the layer now of DePaulo, it makes it so much worse, right? Because now this is just a strict ad hominem against Vanessa. And again, he's welcome to hold this opinion, right?
Yeah.
But the problem is like, this is like so far removed from any initial conversation. I will say though, in DePaulo's defense, he's more responding to her saying that Ben doesn't deserve a sponsorship.
Yes.
And his response is basically like, neither do you, fuck you.
Yeah.
You were a cancer at ACR from my perspective. You know, you did all of these things. He basically said you produce no content, you don't stream, and you were a negative toxic life suck as a coworker. You're a horrible force, but luckily not relevant enough to have equal succubus force on the industry. Complaining and taking 3 selfies, flying around the world, losing in 10Ks is much less of a contribution than Ben makes. Lastly, you have benefited from your gender in poker objectively. That's fine because we need and want more women in poker badly, but you are far from the victim. Women are welcome. Women are needed in poker. Ben said one thing, not nice. You are the essence of not nice. Please, all ladies reading this, the game needs you and wants you. You are so welcome, despite the stupid ass picture painted by clowns like this, highlighting one aspect of one guy that one thing that one guy says. There's actually some very reasonable points in there.
He just says them in such a hateful way
Yes.
that you're not able to.
It's the same thing.
It's so hard to take them out. Like,
all 3 of them make very valid points if you read what they wrote very charitably.
Yeah.
Right? But if you read it all literally, they're all assholes. Truthfully, there's no other way to say it, right? There's literally no other way to say it.
That's
like
true.
Ben is the embodiment of red-pilled culture. Vanessa's the embodiment of a Karen, and DePaulo's the embodiment of like I don't know, like fuck you troll internet culture.
He's just, you know, DePaulo.
Sure,
He's
but my
just an
point
asshole.
that's not my point. My point is that like
I get what you're
all
saying.
3 of them at their core have messages that are actually worth thinking about and discussing.
And if they were written out very cleanly, it would definitely be a conversation that others can join on and latch on and move from there.
Right.
But the problem
all 3
is,
of them present it in a way where they're just trying to tear down the previous person.
Yes.
Right? It's literally just Ben's trying to attack an entire group, and it's not even it's not even specifically women.
Yeah.
Right? He's trying to attack people that that defend the notion of same but not equal, or maybe not that notion, maybe more the notion of just like universal equality, right? So basically, he's just like on guard against anybody who would ever dare say that men are somehow different from women.
Yeah, to be fair, there was a subset of people coming after him no matter what after he put that post out.
Of course.
That's fine. And that's just what the world is.
But he welcomed that.
Yes, exactly.
And then encouraged it by isolating that group off the first sentence.
Yeah, he said platform this.
Yeah. Yeah, precisely. And so then whenever you get to like the Vanessa response and everything else, I have my own issues with Vanessa, and it's always been the same thing. And it always stems back to it seemingly being a thinly veiled way to prop herself up. Every single bit of attention that I feel that she's gotten over the last 2 or 3 years has always somehow been in a way that benefited Vanessa. Going all the way back to the Nagy thing where, you know, dozens of women are coming out and, you know, basically speaking out saying like, this was my experience with Nagy. This was my experience with Nagy. This was my experience with Nagy. And this is like, you know, a short period of time removed from Vanessa becoming the face of standing up and championing for women in poker, and her just kind of saying like, okay, well, I'm going to take inventory and I'm just going to continue to represent ACR and this man who's being being accused of sexual harassment until I get a little clarity, right? And then somewhere down the line, she kicks the can down the road, and you know, somewhere down the line decides like, oh well, DePaulo still works for ACR, so I got to get out of here, right? And it's like, okay, that to me, that's again, bad faith. It's just always framed out of bad faith. But I don't want that to detract from the message that she's trying to put out, because the message itself, the core message of men and women can both play this game at a high level. It has no difference what gender you are, right? The main difference is the path forward and the resistance that you may face. And I think everybody being willing to acknowledge the different challenges that women will have, that minorities will have, that, you know, non-Americans will have. Like, there's xenophobia in poker, there's racism in poker, there's sexism in poker.
Yeah, but as poker grows, as time goes on, all this stuff kind of, you know, moves itself out. Like,
I don't think that's true.
It's people, what do you mean? Like,
I don't think that's true, but I also hold the belief that poker is and never was a meritocracy. And I hold the belief that we're regressing back to pre-Black Friday, pre-boom days, where the game is just going to go private and the opportunities are going to continue to dwindle. Where that's not the case, or where that should not be the case, is at the corporate level, right? So when corporations step in and they're looking for ambassadors, they're looking for influencers, they're looking for people to work behind the scenes, that is where it should be a meritocracy. And anybody who has, you know, attributes that can contribute there, whether it is a following, whether it's a certain understanding of the market, or whatever the case may be, it should not matter. Gender, race, color, creed. Everybody should be an equal hire. But the game itself does not allow. It's a zero-sum game that becomes negative with rake. Like, it's cutthroat. There's nothing about it that is equal or fair. It's all about figuring out ways. There's two paths, right? It's all about either figuring out ways to chisel out the maximum EV for you specifically in a selfish way where you smash and grab and watch the whole world burn before you, or there are ways where you try to carve out like a more long-term path where you're both building and taking at the same time. You know, you're extracting some EV from the pool, but you're contributing some EV back and hoping that that's enough to keep your career path alive, right? The issue is that like those two things are both at odds. The former is certainly much more simple to execute than the latter, and the former makes sure that the game just dies a lot faster than the latter. So like the collaborative, cooperative path is a very difficult one to embark upon, and it's really hard to get people who aren't as good to contribute to that, right? Like it's really only going to be the best in the game that are capable of being more cooperative because they can afford to give up something. It's hard to convince everybody on average to want to give up something. It's hard to convince everybody on average to not seed hop, to voluntarily straddle here and there, to give the little EV back. So when that's the case, it's going to devolve, and sadly, that's going to be true on the fringes too. You know, it's going to be true in shutting women out. It's going to be true in shutting less fortunate people out, whether that's segregated by race or by, region, whatever the case may be. But there's no level playing field here. Being in America is better than being in Europe. Period.
Yes.
For poker. Period.
Yes, of course.
There's no leveling effect there.
Yeah.
Nothing happens to change that.
Yes.
Right? Being a man right now is certainly more advantageous than being a woman in poker.
In which ways?
In getting access, in getting better, in gaining access to money.
Getting access.
I think that's just knowledge based of the game at the moment.
But
like, just because, like, let's take, all right.
I'm just having trouble meeting you halfway on the getting access part. Or maybe I just don't understand what you're saying by that. Like, how is poker more accessible to men than it is for women? Because
men will have access to the brightest minds in the game much, much easier on average. It's not a man, it's men. It's not that you, guapo, will have better access to the greatest minds in poker. It's that men on average will have access to the greatest mind in poker. They run around in the same circles.
Yes, true, but like, if Liv Burry, let's say, I'm going to use her as a wild example. Like, 1 and 2 learn with the best.
Yes, Liv exactly could.
Yes, that's because she's been in the game for a while. Correct. And my point is, like, over time, I think women will grow these type of the same connections men have.
They won't,
in this
though.
game.
It's just proven not to be true. Their peers don't represent the subset of the best in the world. Look how many guys are like Landon's age that have been in the game for 2 years that have access to the brightest minds. Landon, Kier, Dylan, like all these guys, they get fast-tracked because they have access to money, they have access to knowledge, they have access to a wide pool, and then they gain access to good games. Now, the game part is the most debatable.
Yeah.
Women might have the bigger advantage there.
Yeah.
And at low to mid stakes, women might have a slightly better advantage at acquiring backing. But it doesn't matter if they can't progress. If they don't have the same access to knowledge, then that's where it ends, right? But like when Landon gets backed as a young man in small to mid stakes, he graduates very quickly and then gets access to all of this other aspect of the community. The brightest minds, a ton of liquidity, good spots to play in, all this other stuff. Women get capped out because it's really hard to infiltrate those communities when you're an outsider. It's not just women. It's people of color. It's Europeans. Oh, I shouldn't say that about Europeans. Europeans might be, it might actually be Americans, right? Like Europeans might be the subset that has the most knowledge and they're shutting out the vast majority of Americans, right? So there are many, many, many different layers where who you are, where you're born, what your skin tone is are going to represent how much access you have to a path to the top. And it's not that it's impossible for anybody. There will always be a Chrissy B. There will always be a Liv Burry. There will always be a Vanessa Selps. There will always be people that you can count on one hand that break the mold. But the point is that it's hard to replicate. It's hard to just be a blank slate in that body compared to a blank slate in a 24-year-old white guy's body and expect the same path forward without resistance.
Yeah. I agree.
Make sense?
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, so I guess
for a ride, but yeah. It makes
wait, what's
sense.
that?
It brings me for a ride, but yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, like, and that's not to diminish like all of the benefits that are there, right? Like Ryan makes a good point. Vanessa certainly has benefited from being a woman in this game, but it's not as direct, right? It's the one-off high-stakes tournaments here and there, or it's a sponsorship. All of this is contributing to short-term EV, but if the opportunities can't be capitalized on, then it doesn't really matter, you know? Like, if I got thrown into the 500K tomorrow, I'm not prepared, so it doesn't really matter. My EV on the event is like, you know, minus 5% ROI.
You heard that? If any wealthy businessman out there, my boy is ready. He's already just said it. He's like, if somebody called me,
yeah, I'm only losing
just shoot a DM.
I'm only losing like 25K when I buy into
I
that.
mean, yeah,
it's minus 5%, and that's just day one against the.
But like, it's part of this.
Market.
It's part of the sim
Right.
when it comes down to it. It really is. It's just part of the sim. You're just looking to book on the end of your career.
Yeah.
You know, just see you later. Just send you off into the sunset.
Yeah.
You and Gambledore hanging out on an island somewhere.
We're gonna bring the podcast.
We'd have a
back.
fucking good time.
We're gonna bring the podcast wherever it is.
We would have a very good time for sure. Like I could learn a lot from him.
I'm sure. He seems like a wise old man.
That's right. That's right. So yeah, I mean, like putting an end or putting a bow on this conversation, I guess. My bigger point here is that I just don't think that any of this back and forth was done in good faith. You asked me what Jaffe said, and I actually thought this was like the most reasonable take, although, again, it's very one-sided. Okay. He's not offering any grace to Vanessa in this take. Mm-hmm. But he said, I dislike Ben as much as the next person, but this is such bullshit. Overt sexist ? Because he made one post saying he thought men are more competitive than women and doubled down on it. That actually is the charitable way to view Ben's post. Yeah. I'm not saying it's the correct way to view it. I'm just saying it's what that's what people will take away when they offer some grace to something people post. He said, really, do you have any idea how much more you're hurting your cause than helping it? Which I actually do. That's true. Wholeheartedly agree with.
That's true, because anything that she says gets washed. Right. All the other stuff that happens. And like she might have some very valuable points, but nobody's ever going to see them because they're all like, I don't know.
Charged.
Right. Charged is the word?
Yeah.
I don't charged know. Language or just, I'm a little lost for words, but yeah.
I don't know how to end that, but yeah, you guys get what I'm talking about.
He followed up. He said, what he said sexist in nature? Absolutely. But does that mean he should be forbidden from sponsorship opportunities for the rest of his poker career? I mean, come on. And if that's an overt sexist, how would you describe men who believe women shouldn't be allowed to vote? Like, that's actually, I mean, it's a bit of a maybe not a whataboutism. That's not very fair to say. Anyway, it's a little bit of a distraction to use that analogy, but his point is very valid. There are like, if you're going to call him an overt sexist, there are people that are levels. I mean, we're talking levels to this shit, right? Mm-hmm. There are people who like, and I've heard quite a bit from women who've had these experiences where they sit down on a table and are attacked, just like immediately verbally attacked. And like, we're talking like generally going to be an older type of profile. But look, there's a guy who plays the Bellagio that we all know that, when women sit down at the table, he immediately says like, oh, if you were my girl, I'd never let you play. You know what I mean? Like, you'd be in the kitchen raising the kids where you fucking belong.
Knowing who this is, this makes me fucking cry.
Younger than Conrad.
This makes me fucking cry.
But, so it's like that type of shit. Like, that is overt sexism. Yeah. That is a way of life. It is his philosophy to believe that men and women are not only not equal, but fulfill certain gendered roles.
Can we just call it Andrew Tate type shit?
It is. It is. And like, look, like Ben's post is a derivative thereof, but it's within the context of competition, which I think is where, again, I hate to sound like a Ben apologist because I think he is shit. And I don't mean as a poker player. I mean like his takes. I think his takes are absolute shit. I think they're just like the Andrew Tate template from hell. Yeah. Like they're worse in my opinion because like they're not well thought out and they're believable to few, right? So I don't want to sound like a Ben apologist, but my bigger point is like when you bring in the context of competition, like this does just become like a numbers game. It's a data thing. There's a way to interpret this in a charitable way where we're all acknowledging the same problem that exists. There's a clear discrepancy between the number of men that play and the number of women that play. Why? Right? Like, let's just get to the reasons why. Yeah. And as we start to peel back the layers and understand why they exist, what you'll find is that him and Vanessa agree on most everything. It's just the way that they agree is not palatable to one another because one is coming from a place of we should rectify this, and the other is coming from a place of privilege saying like this is what made me. Yeah. That type of stuff. So I think that I hate when these types of conversations come to the surface publicly because they don't do the service that they really should, right? Like this should spark a conversation where people are able to settle on a middle ground and kind of rectify a problem that does exist.
Like more just like trying to find a path rather than like write this out.
It's just a bunch of fucking hot takes. They all smell like shit. It's like this is the type of stuff that D-Negs used to get himself canceled over. Yeah. And it's like, why? Like he would just contribute so many bad hot takes. And that's all it ever is. It's just one fucking hot take after another until it got messy. And then like DePaulo and Vanessa just got fucking messy on Twitter for 2 days. DMs getting exposed and fucking, it's just gross. Like, it's so messy. It doesn't do what you think it's doing. Like, nobody looks at that, even though, like, the way it's portrayed, it does make DePaulo kind of look like he backtracked a little bit. Yeah. But he's in a public setting with his coworkers, and like, he came off really fucking aggro. It's like, of course the narrative is going to be against him whenever you post this, but like, I don't know what the greater context is, and I don't care. I just know you guys are airing dirty laundry out on fucking X.
And that shouldn't be the thing.
And it's messy as fuck.
Yeah.
So like, it's going to get talked about. It's going to get 100,000 views on it, but it's going to be fucking weird, especially when now we got questions for Boski. Bro, just out here denying the Holocaust? Like, what?
No, I don't know. He said for record.
Wait, what?
I saw him write something for record. I am not a Holocaust denier.
Jeez. I mean, talk about collateral damage, dude.
Apparently, Vanessa said somewhere, I don't know.
I'm sorry, I forgot to blur it. Like, oh, okay, well, everything's fine now. I guess you forgot to blur it. Fuck me.
That can't be
it just gets messy, and
it's disgusting.
I guess that kind of led to, I saw Kevin Martin tweeted earlier today. He said, I used to grind in Canada with Vanessa, and though she was like a good poker player and winning and everything else, she always had drama carried behind her. And it's like, that's what I know Vanessa to be too. It's like, from day one, she's just always been overly dramatic about stuff, and that's a shame, because like, I think a lot of her messages are good. They're just lost in the bad faith way that they're presented.
Wow, she needs a proxy.
Yeah,
she needs a proxy.
We all need a proxy.
It's true.
Every one of us needs like an AI cleaned up version of our Twitter feeds. It's like, here's the emotional message that I want to get across. Can you make that come away in a steel-manned version? Yep. And it's like, sure, I would love to do that for you.
I mean, honestly, that's what ChatGPT is for.
The problem with ChatGPT is it's so obvious that
you just give it another.
ChatGPT.
You give it another 3 months.
Yeah, like
all it does is learn.
To be fair, I do think that there are probably GPTs out there that like can learn your tone pretty quickly.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, I imagine if we just fed it 100 hours of OnlyFriends podcast, it would capture our tones very quickly. Mm-hmm. I mean, it might start like mashing words together the way that I do. That'd be fucking incredible.
Right?
Quite amazing the things we're going to be able to do very soon.
I'm excited for it.
God, I'm excited and scared.
This conversation,
it's gone on.
We got to put a bow on it.
It's gone on.
We got to put a bow on it. I was going to get to the muck, but I realized we've been going on way too long. So don't forget, today is the final day for our Black Friday sale. If you guys would like 3 months of Salt for Y for the cost of 2, don't step on my fucking promo, man. We gotta pay the bills. We gotta keep the lights on.
Boski said, "I am not a Holocaust denier" in the chat. Sorry, I just started dying laughing.
Don't. Just wait till the promo's over. God damn it, man. Head to saltforwhy.io. Use code Friday24. You basically get 1 month free for the cost of 2. Cancel anytime, as always. We have a new course up by Andrew Brokus, How to Bluff. It's a pretty great framework in a 4-part series, teaching you what to think about whenever you're in a position to potentially, run a little bit of a stinker. Very important.
Watch that video. I have it on deck.
Yeah, might as well. Fuck it. Let's go.
I want to offer you a way of thinking about bluffing that will help you make better decisions in any scenario that you encounter. First, you want to think about, how many bluffs do I want in this situation? If I am bluffing, what are my targets? Only then do you want to think about, how good is this hand for bluffing? These 2 cards. Then you have to make a plan for how you're going to bluff. Is this going to be a multi-street bluff? Is it one and done? Which turn cards are going to be good for you to barrel? You want to ask yourself these questions.
All right, if you want to check out that course, 11 seasons of Poker Out Loud, all of Brokus's other courses, we have a new learning path page as well that you can check out on the site. No matter what subject material it is that you're looking for, there is a path carved out for you. Be sure to head to saltforwhy.io, check that out, hit hashtag S4Y in the chat if you're looking for the link. That's going to do it for us today. We're going to be back noon tomorrow. We're going to be joined by one Jesse Sylvia. We're going to find out his takes on all things Steelers, of course.
Yes.
As well as anything that's going on in the poker sphere. Be sure to tune in then. Noon Pacific. We'll see you guys all then. Conrad's a Holocaust denier. Let's go.
Whoa, 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 whoa.